I guess you guys have been all day, I think.
Might be some tricky on that.
That's all good. Gotta have a little bit of fun, right? Or a lot.
The lull before the storm here.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the July 2022 Mayor's Update. This is occurring on Friday. Usually we have them on Thursday afternoons, the last Thursday of the month, but we had a little glitch in the giddy-up, and thankfully our guests were able to reschedule, and we were able to get the council chambers set for today. So we're all ready to go. We are going to have a little bit of a change in the format today. However, usually I introduce our guest and then I give the update, and then the guest comes in at the end of the update and we talk with them for a little bit. But we're going to change that up a little bit. We're going to have our guests go first today, and then I will give the update to finish off the program. So our guests today are Sharifa Jones, the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce, and her new team. And the Chamber is one of the city's primary economic development partners, along with many other entities, the Corridor, Spencer Main Street, SMU, several. But the Chamber is very active in so many aspects of community development, program development, and so forth, that I thought it would be a good time for Sharifa to come in and talk about that. And with some recent retirements on her staff, Becky Fear-Hatting and Mary Lou Larson, who'd been at the Chamber for many years, and with some reorganization of Chamber responsibilities, this is a good time for Sharifa to come in, introduce her new team, talk about what their responsibilities are, and some of the programs that they will have going here in the very near future. So with that, I will turn it over to Sharifa, and we'll learn a little bit more about her new team and what they have going in the near future.
Yes, well, first of all, thank you for having us here today, and thank you for everyone who's tuning in. We're really excited to be here. This, as the mayor mentioned, this is a really exciting time at the Chamber, and it's been one heck of a ride so far, so we're really looking forward to things to get going. I want to talk a little bit about some of the economic development additions that have been on the Chamber's, or added to the Chamber's responsibilities, and that's the addition for Clay County Tourism. And that came on July 1st, kind of basically back to our responsibilities. It was prior with the Chamber. And so we are actually in the process. We've got the job announced. If you know of anyone, or if you yourself are interested in doing marketing and tourism for Clay County, please go to our website and apply today. We are hoping to be doing interviews in the next week or two. So that's one of the things. With that, the other large project that we are taking part in is actually with the Spencer School District. Also, obviously a huge economic development driver within the community. We certainly are mindful of, what enrollment's doing within the community, as well as how we can partner further with the school district beyond our current partnerships with like the Spencer Chamber Foundation. So with that, one of our new staff is Alex Dreyer, and Alex is new to the area, and this is his, he's had almost a month under his belt, and Alex is our new work-based learning assistant, and this is a collaborative position between the Spencer Chamber and the school district. So I'm gonna have Alex just talk a little bit about his background and what he's gonna be working on.
Yeah, thanks, Sharifa.
So I've been in education since I got my degree. So last 10 years, I started off as an English teacher, and then from there got into administrative roles down in the Des Moines area. But my parents were up here in the Lakes area, and my wife and I recently had our first child. So we were excited to get the opportunity to be around grandparents. We love the outdoors, so it just made all the sense in the world to come up here, and was lucky enough to find this position that is super unique. I don't know of any other schools or any other chambers that have this position in the state. So my role is shared. It's a partnership between, like Sharifa said, Spencer Schools and then the Spencer Chamber of Commerce. So I'm actually housed. My office is in the Chamber's office building. But I am working to support the work-based learning program at Spencer Schools. So the governor has made a large effort to increase the amounts of work-based learning that take place in Iowa schools. Spencer's been ahead of the game even before she kind of made this like formal goal for the state. They had been doing some of these things already. And Ann Thorson, Nate Went, and some of the other folks at the school have done such a great job with that work-based learning program already that they were ready to like keep on expanding it. So I've come on as an assistant. Primarily right now, I'm working to support the No Boundaries program, which is a really cool class at the school. So juniors or seniors can take it. It's a year-long class, and the whole goal of this is if a business has a project that has been on the back burner, so not like a top priority or something that's super critical to the business, functioning day in, day out, but something that's, gosh, it'd be nice if we could get X, Y, or Z done at some point. Well, we would love to hear from those businesses, hear about the projects, and then see if we could partner a group of students who are interested in something similar to come in and work over the course of the year on trying to do some problem solving around that project, and then at the end of the year give the business a deliverable that's going to help them move forward in the future. Added benefit is students get the professional experience of like project management, professional communication, and some of those professional skills that aren't always explicitly taught in school. So they get some really great experiences, businesses get a benefit, and there might be some opportunities where kids who had thought that, I'm going to head off and go somewhere else straight out of high school, maybe some of them learn that there's jobs and things here in Spencer that they'd be interested in getting into right after high school. So that's this role kind of in a nutshell, and it's a new one, so it's going to continue evolving. So I'm excited to see where it goes, but I've been super grateful to the schools and Sharifa for all their help along the way.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And I would just say that if any of you are listening or you want to get in contact with Alex, again, he does have an office at the chamber. You can call the chamber number. He does have a school email address as well as a chamber email address, and he's just been a great addition to the team. And it really is. It's a no-brainer to really partner the businesses with those specifically juniors and seniors in high school. So thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
The next new staff person, and he was kind of joking earlier that he has, second seniority, is Blake Goss, and Blake is our new events and programs coordinator. Blake started with us in early May.
Thank you, Sharifa. Yes, as Sharifa just said, I am the events and programs coordinator with the Spencer Chamber. Started here in May. My background is in parks and recreation. I worked the last 15 years for the city of Abilene, Texas, and the city of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. When I first got here, we were just a month away from Flag Fest, which was one of the most fun events I've ever been a part of. I can't wait to continue that each year. But we have some other big events coming up in the near future. We have Ag Outlook. We have some fundraisers, chamber bowling, golf tournament. So I'm very blessed to have this opportunity. I get to have a lot of the fun aspects of the job, and but it's exciting to be part of a new team. As she was joking with the seniority, it's exciting to be with a new team with great leadership and a great partnership with the city. That was a lot of fun working with the city and the chamber and everybody else during Flag Fest. And we thank you guys for that continued support year in, year out. But it's just been a great experience. The community's been absolutely wonderful and welcoming. and look forward to great things to come in the future.
Thank you, Blake. And as Blake mentioned, just our partnership with the city is so important in so many different things, not only as an economic development partner, but especially when we're doing events. And we always appreciate the support of the staff, the department heads. Flag Fest is just one of those examples where it really does take the work of an entire team. So we're really fortunate to have the support of the city of Spencer with that. So our next new employee is Maggie Ostrom, and Maggie is our Office and Finance Coordinator. And I will turn it over to Maggie.
Thank you. So, as Sharifa mentioned, I am Maggie taking the reins for Mary Lou recently, about a month and a half now, I think, as the Office and Finance Coordinator, working with reports, documents, kind of the front desk, helping people get information and just supporting this new team in whatever way we need to. I'm originally a Northwest Iowa resident, born and raised in Spirit Lake, that chose to move to Spencer in 2020, and then finally finding a position that really feels right to join the community as a person, but also as a worker. And I'm really excited not only to build our team that is so new with new ideas and programs coming in, but also kind of community as a worker and as someone who is going to benefit from a lot of these new businesses and these connections with the city, and our kind of outreach to the schools and things like that. So very exciting time for us, where we have a really good leader at the helm and we have lots of new ideas bouncing all over the office. So it'll be really exciting to get to see what can grow and change in the next few weeks, months, and years, hopefully.
Yes, thank you, Alex and Blake and Maggie. And I would just say, as these three get more acclimated to the community, you will see us out and about. Alex and I will be going to businesses. Blake and Alex will be going to businesses. Maggie will be going to businesses, answering calls. So we also appreciate your grace, as we do have a lot of learning ahead of us. But it's also really exciting just to be able to get some ideas from them as well. I've told them that I don't have all the answers. And so I really welcome the collaboration that we do have, and really think of us as a team at the Chamber. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Sharifa, and we weren't doing the weather. He did a fine job of doing the weather without our help. But then
It certainly was, and we want to thank you for leading
Yeah.
the parade on your bicycle as well. So.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And but we did have a little apparel mishap during the parade. I don't know if anybody had heard about that, but my wife Marty and I did ride our bikes in the parade, and we were throwing candy out. I had a fanny pack on. Well, I had a backpack with other candy. And I thought, well, I got pretty good at this. I flipped the backpack over, and one of the straps got caught in my wheel. I didn't go down, but three people, this is the cool thing about a small community too. Three people rushed over, helped me get my tire off, and my wife Marty had a fanny pack on as well, and just happened to have a scissors in her fanny pack. Who doesn't? And so she cuts off the strap. We get it untangled, and just in time to go past the reviewing stand at the end. So it all worked out really well. But it was a fun event, and as always, the chamber and the entire community came together for a great experience. And Alex, I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with the partnership between the chamber and the school. And you're exactly right. As a former Spencer teacher, I know how much Spencer Schools has done partnering with the community with a lot of different projects. And I think this will only enhance that. I think it's a great partnership to have, and the school administration and the teachers, I think you'll enjoy working with.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and honestly, like I said, I don't think anybody else is doing it, so it makes a ton of sense, and Spencer is kind of leading the charge, so it'll be neat to see where it goes.
Yeah, and Sharif, I hope you find someone for that new position as well, and you will have a great team in place, and I'm really excited and looking forward to working with the Chamber and moving the city of Spencer forward. So thank you guys very much for coming in today.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank you.
Okay, so now as our Chamber friends exit, we'll continue on with the mayor's update. First of all, I have a couple of things just dealing with, well, one thing with bike safety. And as the months have gone on into the summer, we've noticed more and more bike traffic in the city of Spencer. Just another reminder for folks that please do not bike on the sidewalks on Main Street. They are not allowed, as well as skateboards, and we do see them every once in a while. This would be a very bad day to be on the sidewalk with a bike, with crazy days going on, lots of foot traffic. But there are pedestrians on the street, on Main Street, and we certainly don't want to have any accidents with regard to pedestrians and bicycles. So if you should stay off of the sidewalks. The other thing, let's make sure that we use proper bicycle etiquette. Please stop for stop signs, look both ways. We've had some reports of near misses and of bikes and cars. So cars, be cognizant of the bikes. Bikes, please follow the traffic rules as well. And also, bicyclists, make sure you wear your helmets, use lights on your bikes. It does make for good safety. Secondly, and as long as we're talking about wheels of a sort, the city has had 2 filings at the last couple of council meetings with regard to scooters. There's a company called Bird Incorporated, or Bird Scooters, and this was an initiative they brought forward by the city manager, Dan Gifford. They reached out to him to see if it would be possible for them to utilize their scooters in the city of Spencer. And many of you who have traveled probably to larger cities may have seen these scooters being used around in various places. As we understand, there's about 8 or 9 cities in Iowa that now have them. They're electric scooters. There are several cities in Minnesota that have them. A lot of the larger communities, but there are lots of communities around our size that are starting to have them as well. This is a private business. This is not a city-run business. We have signed a contract with them, but we still have to change part of the ordinance with regard to scooters being allowed on city streets, and that will be the 3rd filing at the meeting on Monday night if it passes. However, they have reached out to us, and they have said if this does pass, they are not going to be implementing the business until next spring. They think it would just be too soon to try and get it going in August, and the season would be relatively short. So if it does pass Monday night, we won't be seeing scooters on the streets anytime soon. Thirdly, at the last council meeting, we had several people come in for a public hearing on a sewer extension project on 25th Street and 11th Avenue West. Now, 11th Avenue West, Really, most of us would refer to it as Highway 71 or Hagedorn Heights for those of us of a certain age who remember it as Hagedorn Heights. And I want to just give a little background to this sewer extension. And sewers are not the most exciting thing to talk about, but this is kind of a unique situation. The folks out there, basically all of them, have septic systems, and the homeowners out there came to the city and asked about running city sewer for their service. So the project basically was petitioned. They brought forward a petition to the city from the property owners. And this has been kind of a long, involved process that's been talked about over the years, but it really gained momentum last year when the property owners came in. It was put on a committee agenda. They talked about it at that time. Then we talked to the engineers to see whether or not this would be possible. We contracted Cruz Caton Nelson to look into a proposed sewer extension out there, design a project, give us an estimate of the cost. Then what has to happen is that there's an assessment schedule, because the property owners obviously are responsible for the lion's share of the project, and they will be assessed that on their property taxes. So that has all gone well, but it has taken several months. And you know, it's kind of like lawmaking a little bit. It's kind of like making sausage. You know, it's done here and there, and this part gets added, and this part gets added, and so forth. And hopefully, you come out with something that's pretty good. So yesterday, the city received bids from various contractors, and on Monday night, the council will be reviewing those bids and perhaps awarding a contract, but that will happen on Monday night. So hopefully this project, if it goes forward, and of course we don't know what the outcome of the bids are going to be, whether the council is going to approve it or not, but if it goes forward, it would have a May 9th deadline, I think is what we set, or May 19th of 2023. However, we're hopeful that if the project moves forward, that it could be done this fall. A couple of other projects that are trying to wrap up down on the south side of town. One is on West Leach Park, the boat ramp. They got going great guns early in June, and then for the first time in 2 years, the river came up. And that kind of forestalled the project. And now with the water going back down, the project is moving along pretty well, and hopefully they'll be getting that wrapped up here pretty soon. And then on the other side of Grand is East Leach Park. And I think everybody's been pretty much very anxiously awaiting the finish of the rocket slide park in East Leach Park. And it is nearing completion. Mid-States has been over there working very, very well getting that project going, and I don't think they have much farther to go on that. So anxious to see that project come to fruition. And as long as we're on parks, let's move to the west side of town and see Earl Page Park. C. Earl Page Park is a very small neighborhood park. It had some little bit, a few bit of playground equipment things, and had a little basketball hoop. Earlier in the summer, the park department noticed that the playground equipment was not up to standards, and they deemed it dangerous, and so they took the playground equipment out. Now, you have to understand, C. Earl Page Park, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, is about 3 or 4 blocks away from the Deerfield Park, which has a lot of new playground equipment in it. So for right now, what we're planning with regard to C. Earl Page Park is just to use it as green space. Now, there are plans on the drawing board down the road. This is not anything that's imminent, of course, but to perhaps make C. Earl Page Park into a pollinator park. And there's some really nice renderings of that and so forth. So, we may be seeing that down the road in the future. Also, Monday night at the council meeting, you will be hearing, there will be a public hearing actually on urban chickens. Now, several communities throughout the state have ordinances that allow for urban chickens within the city limits. And Spencer looked into this issue several years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago, and it didn't go anywhere. This year, Planning and Zoning, it was brought to the attention of Planning and Zoning Commission to look into this. There was a great deal of work done by Planning and Zoning and the Planning Department of the city, and they did, I think, an exceptional job in doing the research with regard to a particular ordinance with regard to urban chickens. So after a lot of discussion, a lot of conversation, a lot of research, Planning and Zoning crafted an ordinance that the City Council will be looking at on Monday night. And there will be a public hearing, and so the public will be able to have the opportunity to talk about urban chickens, pro or con. We've received some written comments. I haven't checked with the office today to see if we've gotten more, but there were quite a few that we had received up until yesterday for sure. Now, if the council votes in favor of allowing this ordinance to move forward, it's just like any other ordinance. It would take 3 filings in order for it to go into effect. The next thing I want to touch base on is something that we talked about at the last council meeting, but really didn't give it a lot of attention. Alex Schultz, our planning director, did talk briefly about it, and that was we approved the first tier of a study done by Snyder and Associates with regard to the Green Industrial Park. Now, just a little background on this. First of all, FEMA does floodplain studies for all communities. And a few years ago, FEMA did a study of the city of Spencer and put the Green Industrial Park into a floodplain. Now, those of us who have lived in Spencer for several decades, and people older than myself, have never seen the Green Industrial Park flood. But there is a drainage ditch south of the middle school and that runs to the east. And that drainage ditch basically drains a lot of the eastern part of Spencer. Now, this drainage ditch, I didn't realize this, but it has a name. It's called the Muddy Creek Tributary. I had no idea that we had a name for a drainage ditch, but evidently we do. So originally we had conversations with FEMA, and this is back a few years ago, trying to explain to them that we didn't understand why the Green Industrial Park would be in a floodplain. And of course that conversation didn't go very far. Sometimes when you're dealing with government agencies, these things don't go very far. But the problem with this is that the Green Industrial Park, when it was, when the city and SMU acquired that property, several years ago, we thought that it was a really good idea for economic development on the east side of Spencer. So you can imagine if this area is in a floodplain that is going to put a damper on how much economic development can be done out there. So there are some options, and that's what Snyder and Associates are going to work with us with regard to those options. What we would really like is for Snyder and Associates to be able to come to a conclusion and be able to convince FEMA that, oh yeah, there's other ways for that water to drain other than through the drainage ditch, and it's not going to back up and flood the Green Industrial Park. Right now, we have some options, and you can raise the level of the building plat above the floodplain, and then you can build out there, of course. But the first part of this study by Snyder and Associates basically is a hydrological study, and they're going to come in and consult with the city and talk about what it is that could be done with regard to that floodplain. And this is just the first part of it. And the cost is being shared by the city, Iowa Electric, and SMU. And the first phase of this is only $5,000, so split 3 ways. It's not a huge expense to the taxpayers. And I think it's a very small amount of money in terms of what we could possibly get. Now, if we move on to phase 2 and phase 3, that would be much more extensive, but I think there's a $100,000 cap if we would go to through the entire study. So there'll be more to come on that, and it'll be interesting to talk with the folks from Snyder and Associates here in the next few weeks. I believe we have a meeting set up with them. And then finally today, we have some goodbyes. We have a couple of directors who are leaving employment for the city of Spencer. First of all, Park and Recreation Director Jared Elbert. He has done an outstanding job as the Parks Director. He's managed the extension of the parks, the trail system. He and his family are going to be missed. They're moving into the Kansas City area, and they will be closer to family down there, but we want to wish them well, of course. And then Alex Schultz, our planning director, has decided to step down as well. He came to Spencer from the Mankato area. He's an outstanding professional. There is no question about Alex's professionalism. Everything he does is detailed and fair. No question about that. And this can be a very high-pressure situation, and I've always been very impressed with how Alec handles himself in a very, very professional way. And I want to say this about both Alec and Jared. They're outstanding community members, and that's something that we're going to miss as well. Not just the job that they do for the city, but for the community and their impact on the community as well. Just great people. And then finally, we're saying goodbye, and this has been kind of a long goodbye throughout the month. Teresa Reardon, our city clerk, today is her last day as a City of Spencer employee. And she's had an outstanding career, and I don't think that she will mind me saying that it's been 40 years. It's just been, I think, a wonderful career for Teresa, and she has given so much to the city, to the citizens of Spencer, and I have said this over and over, but she exemplifies what it is to be a public servant. And we're really going to miss her. And to all three of them, I want to wish them well and Godspeed. And with that, I want to conclude the July 2022 Mayor's Update. And for all of you out there, take care and do good. Thank you very much.